You just got wrecked.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Tuesday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great start to your week. Having a look at what is going on with Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin is up 0.65%, but let's be honest, it's basically just sort of been range bound for a while, just kind of bouncing down and up and down, and we're sort of just consolidating, right? The interesting thing is if you actually sort of, make the chart a little tighter, you do start to notice there is a bit of a pattern forming, right? Now, we did speak about this yesterday, but there are some other hypotheses about what could be happening right now in the Bitcoin chart, so that's exactly what I want to talk about today. I also want to discuss the sort of question of could governments actually, ban or kill or destroy cryptocurrency, right? Because we are seeing a lot of these different countries turn to crypto as well, and I also have some pretty amazing bullish news that I think you're going to enjoy, so you're definitely going to want to stick around for the rest of this video. I will keep it short. It's actually kind of early in the morning where I am right now, but I'm trying to get this video out at about the same time that these videos usually do come out. So that being said, let's dive in. Let's give it a quick refresh live. So you are noticing Bitcoin dominance at 67.5%. So where is this Bitcoin dominance going? Well, you might have a hunch that it's actually going into, well, obviously, guys, it's going into Noah coin, clearly, up 1,532% with $142,000 worth of volume. Yeah, I'll take some of that. Okay, but seriously, we also have iExec, Omisego, Bytecoin. So for the most part, you can see there are a lot of altcoins in the, mild green today, whereas Bitcoin is essentially losing its market cap. So that is something interesting I would like to talk about as well. Now, another reason why we could be looking for a bit of a big move is you notice right here, we are, kind of low on the volume. We're under 500 million for Bitcoin, and Tether's sitting at just about 1.1 billion, right? Interestingly enough as well, the longs and the shorts, which I actually have a screenshot from this morning, it was literally exactly at 50 and 50%. It was nuts. But you could basically tell that the markets are essentially not really leaning one way or the other, but we do know that once we do have that, breakout or potential breakdown, it's going to be a very massive move. Now, essentially right here, super quick, I just want to point out that we are sitting below the $9,484 level. That was a resistance that I spoke about basically for the past, I think it was 3 or 4 days we've been talking about it, so we are below that currently, right? We do need to get above that, and you can see this sort of blue zone down here. This sort of represents the CME futures gap. However, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Now, we were actually discussing how if we were to have a move to the upside, and this actually was some kind of a bull pennant or something of that nature, you could actually see a move to $13,300, but is that actually going to happen? Because we do have a potential to break to the downside as well, right? So some people, there's some analysts out there that are saying this resembles a bit of a cup and handle formation, right? Now, I mean, regardless of how you're looking at this chart, I mean, it's consolidation here. It's, essentially consolidation here. So having a look over at what a cup and handle is, essentially you have the cup, which, is like a bowl shape, and then the handle, right? So it does kind of look like that's what we're looking at right here. So if we were to break to the upside, and if this is in fact a cup and handle, I'm not saying it is, but just to sort of let you know essentially what we're looking at here, you still need to get above the $9,700 level just to sort of break this resistance right here, and eventually you would want to get higher than that wick, but keep in mind, we still need to put in some kind of a short-term higher high compared to the previous moves, right? Now, I wanted to point out one thing that if you guys check out CoinDesk, Amkar Godboll, he was mentioning the MACD, but he was referring to it on the 3-day chart, which we usually don't really use that on the channel. I usually use the daily or the 4-hour, not so much the 3-day, but you can see I highlighted up here. He says the MACD has crossed above 0 on the 3-day chart, confirming a bearish to bullish trend change. Now, obviously, I don't chart really on the 3-day, so that's why I'm mentioning this to you, but I do want to just keep in mind, realistically, we do still have the CME futures gap, and I know someone out there is going, we're not going to close it this time. I mean, listen, I would love to say that these things don't always close. They don't always get filled, but literally every other time we've had one, it's gotten filled. So, I mean, that might be kind of bearish, maybe short term if we do take the dump, but then don't forget long term, we do have, the gap up here as well at about that 11,000 $800 level, right? So essentially, like I said, you do want to get above this sort of wick that we put in here where the high was 10,050, and you want to break above really sort of this wick that we had right here that was around that, it was 11,130. So we're not quite out of the water, out of the woods just yet, but it is starting to look a lot brighter. I will say that for sure, but I do want to just give the sort of bearish case if we do happen to take a plummet and we close the CME futures gap and we go below the $8,885 level, well, then that would actually put us below the 200 daily, which would technically be bearish. But I just want to show you, we do have this resistance flip support here, this upper green line from the descending wedge, and then we also have this support right here, which I've showed you guys. This actually goes way, 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 way back to when we had this sort of, I guess you could call it accumulation phase before we had the blast off. So you can see that I do still think that if we are to go down and we do dump, I still think right here, do you see where these two lines cross? You're looking at about that 8,400. I mean, you could maybe wick down to 8,400, 8,500, but then I think that you would have a very fast reversal, and I think we would instantly be back up above 9K. All right, so that's basically what I'm looking at right now. So are we going to hit $16,000 in the next 2 days? I don't think that's happening, and I think we can officially put this meme to rest, but you guys let me know. Do you think we're going to have a $16,000 Bitcoin in 2 days? I mean, anything can happen, right? We had that crazy pump the other day, but listen, this is what I really wanted to talk about, and I do want you guys to actually stick around. I know a lot of people just like leave after the charts, but this is really interesting, and I'm going to rapid fire this, okay? But I wanted to talk about, you know, what is going on with these countries and these governments, and, you know, are they going to eventually look to sort of ban Bitcoin or maybe buy it all up or scare people to the point where they dump it so hard, which is what I think they were trying to do, and, you know, get people to panic sell. You could see, if you guys know Pierre Ricard, Bitcoin researcher, he says that Bitcoin is a tool for overthrowing the status quo and introducing a new monetary system. He says it's really about people's purchasing power and the price hikes that are happening. Who is benefiting from that inflation is kind of the next question. And you can see right here, he's actually referring to this New York Times tweet that was talking about what's going on in Chile right now, which, if you guys haven't been paying attention, is pretty terrible right now. I mean, I'm not going to go into detail, obviously, but it's definitely not good. And you can see that he says the current monetary policies have pushed people out into the streets in mass protests against their economic plight, etc. And he says if they were on the Bitcoin standard, these political elites would not be able to create more Bitcoin. Now stay with me, guys, because we're going to talk about could they possibly destroy it. He says that they would have to face the fact that people run Bitcoin full nodes and thus are able to make sure that they're not getting scammed by their government, right? Well, it's interesting because there was a little bit of a Twitter debate going back and forth, right? And you see American Hodl right here. He actually says the way to kill Bitcoin is to buy out the hodlers.
Listen and understand, hodlers are out there, Sarah. They can't read a white paper. They can't code. They don't fear downturns or regulation. And they will absolutely not sell, ever, until they are wrecked.
But the question is, if you were going to just outright buy the hodlers out, like just straight up be like, all right, we're just going to give you this much for Bitcoin, we're just going to buy it from you right now, how much would you actually be willing to let your Bitcoin go for? And I want you guys to drop a comment below and let me know. It was very, very interesting down here because somebody actually asks him, what's your buyout price then? He says, I wish I was obstinate enough to resist it. Maybe I will be if we get there. Right now, I'd take about $20 million a coin. So essentially, American Hodl over here is saying that he wouldn't sell his Bitcoin for anything less to the government, if the government wanted to buy out the Bitcoin hodlers for anything less than $20 million, which is crazy. You can see right here, actually, Saifedean Amos, he is the author of the Bitcoin Standard. He chimed in and said, I think lots of Bitcoiners will never sell their last coins for any price in fiat. They might have to spend it to survive, but they'll never accept owning fiat and zero Bitcoin. The higher the price, the truer this is. If USD drops by 10 Satoshis, why would you want to hold any USD? I actually like this tweet. I'm actually going to give it a little retweet. That was a good one. I like that one. I always like to spread the positive vibes on Twitter. But, you know, guys, when I hear people say, like, oh, I'm too late to the party. I missed all those sick gains on Bitcoin. Now, it's not only about the gains, but let's be real, most people don't care unless they think they're going to get rich overnight, which that's really not how Bitcoin works. But you can see right here, I talk about this all the time, comparing the world's money and markets, and you can see right here, each one of these little squares represents 100 billion. Now, you guys may have seen this. If you've seen this, feel free to skip ahead because I have a lot more to talk about. But for those that haven't seen it, if you actually compare cryptocurrency, which is down here, this is Bitcoin, although Bitcoin is a little bit bigger now because, you know, we do have $170 billion market cap. So, okay, it's not even two of these. So, you know, it's like one or just take all of these together. Maybe it still kind of looks like that, right? So essentially you could see, look, the biggest companies, the 50 richest people, look at this, California's GDP, Fed's balance sheet, currency, gold, stock markets, global money supply, global debt, global real estate, derivatives, forget about it. Forget about it. And yeah, and then they say, you know, Bitcoin, which you can't see because it's behind me, but essentially, let me just zoom out of this. Look at this whole chart right here. Look at this crazy, crazy, crazy chart. And then we have, you know, Bitcoin sitting up here just chilling. So yeah, you are definitely early enough. Trust me. But, you know, it's not just the price. There is actually a desperation. There's a need for something that is out of the hands of these maniacal governments that are racing to devalue currencies, hyperinflation. You could see rapidly devaluing national currency, economic crisis over in Argentina. Now check this out. The central bank just announced that they basically have new restrictions on the amount of US dollars you could buy. So as of today, they're going to limit the purchase of US dollars to just $200 per month to people that want to buy it. And if you're using cash, you can only buy up to $100 worth of US dollars. The move is believed to be an effort to curb dollar use in the face of rapidly devaluing Argentine peso. But I mean, does that really sound like the answer here? But stick with me because let me show you that if you actually look at the countries that are doing this, they are having the biggest response to the OTC markets. For example, you know, above my head, Australia, you know, not really crazy. They had the hype in the 2017 bubble. Argentina, okay, we're not at an absolute all-time high, but have a look at this chart. Does it look like it's going down anytime soon? No. Scroll down a little bit more to another country that's having issues. You have Chile over here, right? We just talked about that. Look at this chart. Clearly they are buying Bitcoin. Scroll down to Colombia, right? Their chart is also going up, right? So I just wanted to kind of point that out, that you're noticing in these countries that, you know, are actually in that desperate need for the Bitcoin. It's being reflected in the charts. You cannot deny that, right? But I know what you're saying. Okay, great, but we live here in the West. What about mass adoption? How are you going to get my grandma or my aunt or my uncle to be interested? Well, guess what? It's getting easier and easier, and this is the biggest bullish news probably of the past few days. Bakkt has officially announced that they are going to be launching their crypto consumer app next year. So according to a blog post that was published by Bakkt, which, by the way, I will drop this below, but they did a nice summary over here at Crypto Globe, so I'm just going to go with this. Essentially, you could see, according to it, Mike Blandina, the cryptocurrency consumer app, will be launched in the first half of next year and will let consumers use crypto to buy goods from merchants. In the post, he hinted that the app may not only support Bitcoin, here's the cool part, but other digital assets as well. So maybe we'll see some Ethereum, might even see some XRP for you guys out there, possibly, we don't know, right? He wrote, a key feature of Bakkt's model is designed to support a superset of digital assets, including cryptocurrencies, as seamlessly as investors transact in stocks in retail brokerage accounts. He said that the vision includes providing its customers a platform to manage a digital asset portfolio, whether these assets are going to be stored, traded, or transacted using that platform. Essentially, this is not Satoshi's vision, but it is going to be making it that much easier. And I do believe that this is just the tip of the iceberg of basically what I believe to be a massive avalanche, a trickle-down effect of this mass adoption. And I do believe that this is the beginning. Speaking of Bakkt, let's see how they're doing. They were at 242 when I woke up. At 260, so okay, I mean, it's a little bit lower. We are seeing lower volumes across the board. That is pretty much the case, but not bad, a lot better than the start, right? So, but the question, why is Bitcoin dominance falling? Well, it's actually gone up a little bit. It did come down here to about 69%. It's pulled up just a little bit, but like I said to you guys over the past couple days, when Bitcoin does tend to have these massive, massive rallies, you do tend to see some of those sort of profits go into the altcoins, and, we did see a lot of the altcoins spiking, the Chinese altcoins specifically, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin continues its sideways action if the altcoins do see a little bit more love. But do keep in mind, we are expecting there to be a pretty big Bitcoin move relatively soon, so inevitably when this happens, it does affect the altcoins no matter what. So speaking of altcoins, this is some really good news from the IOTA Foundation. So they announced that its technology is going to be used as a key enabler for Project Alvarium, which is an open source effort being formed under the Linux Foundation. So this is pretty massive, I would say. The Alvarium project will be focused on building out the concept of a data confidence fabric, or a DCF, to establish the provenance of data coming from multiple different sources and deliver data to applications with measurable confidence. Now, this is a very technical thing. I'm not going to read this all because number one, I don't have really time for it, and you're probably going to get bored. But if you are interested, I will drop this below. We also finally have some confirmation on the Tron rumors. So apparently this guy right here, Misha Letterman, essentially said that in this document, Samsung formally has added APIs to support transactions on Tron. So there you go. That's the big news. So that's what we were expecting. And how's the price? 4.76. Let's give it a quick refresh. 4.20. So not really. I mean, I feel like these types of news. How's IOTA doing? Let's see. Did IOTA pump on the news at all? Anything? Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. You used to have news like this back in the day, and cryptos would go through the roof. But that being said, guys, I want to end on one note. I think this is a good place to end the video. And this is basically from a top executive at private Swiss bank, Julius Baer. And he was basically talking about cryptocurrencies, and he says that he still thinks they're in the Darwinian process of selection, right? Where there's different business models that get tried and tested, and he's saying we haven't seen something that is a clear winner. So I guess that means not Bitcoin, which is okay. I understand. There's people that say, hey man, Bitcoin might be a store of gold, but I don't want to wait 10 minutes for a transaction. Hey, I get it, guys, right? You could see he basically had a further claim about the state of the new asset class, suggesting that many cryptocurrencies still struggle with the fact that they have limited or plateauing supply patterns, which actually make them more like gold than a currency. And I think most of us might agree on that currently. Now, this is the really cool part, though. So their ex-CEO, Bernard, his last name is Hodler. I almost don't even believe that. Guys, you see, this guy's last name is Hodler? Wow, that's hilarious. Okay, so if that's not a typo, then ex-CEO Bernard Hodler had likened to cryptocurrencies to gambling back in an interview in 2018, yet despite his emphasis at the time that the bank was not advising its clients to speculate in the field, Julius Baer has since made a 180-degree turn. So this February, Julius Baer had announced plans to offer clients access to digital asset services via a partnership with now licensed Swiss crypto bank Seba Crypto. And I think that's a great place to end today's video. So thank you so much once again for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. I was in the box of shame. Unfortunately, I'm going to be here for the next week. I am out at Vegas Blockchain Week. I know the lighting in this room sucks. It's also really early.